The Vietnam War began in the mid-50s when North Vietnam attempted to take over South Vietnam. About 7 years later, the U.S. sent aid to the Southern Vietnamese and began fighting for their freedom. Slowly, the North Vietnamese army was winning the war, and in 1975 they forced the U.S. to pull out of Saigon. After the fall of Saigon, Ho Chi Minh became the first gunman of the Socialist Republic of Vietnam. The new communist government influenced many people, like Peter, to flee Vietnam for more freedoms not given there. Peter is what is known as one of the boat people, someone who came across from Vietnam by boat to another country. And there is a specific time of year in which you can leave Vietnam by boat.
Some period of time, they get weather really calm. You can hop on the boats, very small boat, but you can go across from Vietnam to Malaysia.
In 1982, Peter decided to leave Vietnam because of the communist government restrictions. Upon departure, the seas were calm. However, after one day and one night, the seas became very rough as the winds rose and the waves became huge. This caused his plan to make it to Malaysia to go south.
I saw the wave like 2-story high up there, and my boats are down here. It bring it up here and drop it down like that, and like. By then, in my body, everything tried, very much like try to throw up. But by then, because I'm very, young and strong, very young and strong, so it's about like 5 or 6 boy, like about my age, survive. We survive on them, but everybody else like just thrown up, and they got like seasickness, and everybody like dying.
Because of these bad weather conditions, they were forced to turn back to Vietnam. Upon arrival, Peter was arrested for attempting to leave the country and placed in a labor camp. In the labor camp, the communists forced Peter to move hundreds of kilos on very slick ground with very little food.
Give you like 2 small bowls of rice a day. Choose a day, like one in the morning and one in the evening. So just rice in it and not clean rice.
1 year later, Peter was released from the labor camp. Upon his release, Peter decided to attempt a second escape. This time, the weather was perfect. The winds were calm and the waves were minimal. He made landfall on the east coast of Malaysia in a place called Pulau Bidong. Upon arrival, he was moved into the Pulau Bidong refugee camp. In this camp, he had no freedom, but had plenty of food, decent clothes, and access to public buildings, such as libraries.
Right, so you can talk, you can go into library, you can go into library to study, you can read any book you want to. So that's completely different compared with what you want in Vietnam.
After 6 months in Pulau Bidong, Peter was transferred to Sungai BC, near the Malaysian capital of Kuala Lumpur. He waited about 2 months before the U.S. sponsored him and sent him to the Philippines. In the Philippines, Peter stayed on an American naval base for a couple of weeks and then was shipped out on a commercial airline to San Francisco.
Oh, U.S.? Oh, completely different. So you're talking about like U.S. of course dream country. So everybody wants to be here, right? So that means. Yeah, it's completely different. I can say like when I get into U.S., not only because of U.S. rich country, but because I see like people are really nice people. They are so friendly. They open mind. Whatever you can say, you can say. You don't have to worry about people look at your back. Or you can caught and put in jail anymore. So there's a lot of stuff like that. So it's completely different.
Once in the U.S., Peter had achieved his goal of being free of communism with its harsh ways and leaders. and he finally had the chance to achieve the American dream.